Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Rini and I share DIY home decor videos here on my channel. So Mother's Day is right around the corner and I thought of sharing some DIY Mother's Day card ideas with you. So before we get started, I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already and click the bell icon to get notified every single time I upload a new video on my channel. So let's hop right into the DIYs. To start off, I'm taking this watercolor pad which I'm going to use for making all the cards today. The dimensions of the papers are 9 by 12 inches. Then I'm plucking a paper out of the pad and starting to fold it in half. While doing that, I'm making sure the corners match on both the sides. Next, I'm going to use this 5 by 5 inch square piece that I cut out from a brown paper bag. I'm placing a ruler diagonally on the square and then folding one of its sides to make the edge of the paper parallel to the ruler. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. We also want one of the edges to slightly overlap the other so we can stick them together. Then I'm going to do another tiny fold on the side which is going to be right below the crease that was made with the ruler before. Now I'm marking where I want the fold to be and folding it in the same way on the other side. I'm using a glue stick to stick the folds. I'm starting with the two little folds on both the sides, then I'm going to stick both the sides together. I cut out a small strip of paper that I'm going to stick underneath to secure it more. I also cut out another 3.5 by 3.5 inch brown paper square and I'm going to make an envelope with it. First, I'm making a little fold diagonally to find the center of it. And then I'm going to fold the left and the right corners to meet the center point. I'm folding the bottom corner now. I'm also folding the corner of the bottom flap inwards. Then I'm also cutting the sides of the bottom flap to straighten them out. Now I'm folding the top flap of the envelope and making the corner rounded, which is optional. Then I'm going to attach the flaps together with a glue stick. Next, I'm taking a piece of watercolor paper and drawing some leaves and flowers on it. I'm drawing 3 different types of leaves here for the bouquet. To color them, I'm just using some watercolor. I'm painting the leaves with a few shades of green. I'm also darkening the edges a little bit to give them more dimension. Then I'm coloring the flowers as well. Now I'm going to cut out the leaves and the flowers with a pair of scissors. I'm also painting some stems for the flowers. For the center of the flowers, I'm going to use 2 different shades of brown. I figured the easiest way to cut out small circles is by using a hole punch. Once we're done with that, we're going to attach the circle to the center of the flower using a tiny dab of hot glue. Then I'm cutting out the stems and attaching them to the back of the flowers using some hot glue. Now it's time to assemble the bouquet. We are going to do 3 layers, so for the first layer I'm gluing down some leaves. Then I'm gluing down the flowers. And finally I'm gluing down the remaining leaves. To give it a finishing touch, I'm taking a piece of jute twine, attaching it to the back of the bouquet to hold it in place and then tying a bow knot. Now I'm going to attach both the bouquet and the envelope to the card. I also cut out a small piece of paper around 1.5 by 2.5 inch and I'm going to write Happy Mother's Day on it with a black gel pen. I don't have a calligraphy pen, so I was trying to do some calligraphy with a regular pen. You can also use alphabet stamps, stencil, or any method you like. Using a gold marker pen, I am drawing along the edges. Finally, I'm attaching the piece of paper to the envelope. I also cut out a little watercolor heart which I'm going to stick to the envelope. And this finishes off our first DIY Mother's Day card. For the second card, I'm folding another watercolor paper in half. Now I'm going to paint some watercolor stripes. First, I'm starting with the crimson red paint. Then I'm painting another orange stripe right below the first one. We want the paint to be a bit runny. This will let the paint bleed through the next stripe and will create a beautiful abstract pattern. We are also going to keep an equal space on all the four sides. This way I'm going to continue painting the stripes, and I'm using red, orange, pink and yellow watercolor for this. You can go for any color palette you want. After the paint is dry, I'm going to write Happy Mother's Day with a pencil first to avoid any mistake. And then I'm going in with a black gel pen over it. Now we're going to do some faux calligraphy since I don't have a brush pen. So all the downward strokes are going to be thick and the upward strokes remain the same. You can practice this technique a few times, and once you get a hang of it, it is going to be very easy. Then I'm going to fill those in with my pen. To add some more detailing, I'm drawing two bunch of leaves on the opposite sides. For the third card, I cut out a heart shape which is going to be our template. I'm laying the shape on a piece of watercolor paper and tracing it. I'm going to trace 3 times. For the first heart, I'm mixing some red and white watercolor paint, and I'm going to fill in the entire shape with the same color. For the second one, I'm going with a salmon pink color. For the third shape, I mix some pink, white and brown to get a rose brown color. Now we are going to draw different patterns on them. For the first heart, I'm drawing little dots on it with a darker color. While the paint is still drying, I'm blending them in with a clean, damp brush. For the next one, I'm going to draw 2 parallel lines close to each other with a detailing brush dipped into brown paint. Sparing about a half-inch space, I'm going to draw another pair of horizontal lines. We're going to repeat the pattern throughout the shape. After that, I'm going to repeat the same thing. The only difference is that the lines are going to be vertical this time. For the third shape, I'm going to draw zigzag lines with white paint. Then I'm going to cut the shapes out. I'm also going to write the letters MOM on the 3 hearts with a black gel pen. You can use a Sharpie or a stencil for that. After we wrote Mom on the hearts, I'm going to take a piece of jute twine. I'm holding the card horizontally and marking a dot on each upper corner. Then using a pin, I'm piercing into the paper where I marked. I'm sticking one end of the jute twine into the paper. I'm going to move on to the other side, pierce a pin into the paper and stick the other end of the twine into it. Then I'm going to flip the card over and tie a knot on one end of the twine to secure it. We are not going to tie the other end yet because we need to adjust the length of the rope. Next, I'm taking 3 tiny wooden clothespins and hanging the hearts on the twine with these. We are also going to make sure they are equally spaced out. Here I'm adjusting the length of the twine, and once I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm going to tie the other end of the twine. For the final touches, I'm taking a piece of burlap ribbon which is about a 1.5 inch wide. And then I'm going to stick it to the bottom of the card with hot glue. And this finishes off our last DIY Mother's Day card. So that's all for today, and I really hope you liked the DIYs. If you did, please let me know in the comments your thoughts on it. You can also follow me on Instagram at DustyHues. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next one.